Hey everybody, this is going to be my labor and delivery story for Miss Sadie here. And if you already saw my birth video, which I posted a few days ago, yeah, that was her birth, obviously, but it was only a 13-minute video and there was a lot of stuff that, you didn't see or didn't get to hear about. So, yeah, if you want to hear about my experience, what I thought about it, and especially what I thought of the whole, Hypnobabies thing, then keep watching this video because I'm going to go into all of that. And hopefully we get this done before we got to go pick up brother from school. She's so sweet. Yeah, so she was born 11 days ago now, and so I figured I better record this video before all the details fade in my mind, and I was smart enough to take notes too. But anyways, okay, so let's go back to almost 2 weeks ago now. Friday, I was having, the Braxton Hicks off and on, and just pressure waves that I weren't sure if they were dilating me or what, but yeah, I just had a feeling that she was going to be born over the weekend, that Friday. I pretty much knew that I was going to have her that weekend. It was just a weird feeling I had. And also I had a dream, one or two nights before where she was born on Sunday. So I had a dream that she was going to be born on Sunday, and sure enough, she was. So Saturday, we had this huge forecast of 8 to 12 inches of snow or something coming in over Saturday night. And I was starting to get a little bit nervous about that because, yeah, I just wanted my birth team to be able to get here safely, and I didn't know how fast things were going to go, so that was kind of in the back of my mind. But so anyways, we were supposed to have my prenatal appointment on Sunday, but we went ahead and bumped it up to Saturday just because of the weather, and I didn't, want her to have to drive through the snow, especially if I wasn't in labor. So she came, and I was still measuring 38 weeks for the third or fourth week in a row, and she was lower. Whoa, hello camera, calm down. She was lower than she'd ever been, and yeah, that's basically all we talked about because I wasn't really having contractions in the morning. I really haven't. I really wasn't. The last month or so of my pregnancy really wasn't having much uterine activity in the mornings. But anyways, so my midwife went ahead and went home, and then I went and ran some errands. I went and got a space heater for the living room because she said that we should have one. My midwife said we should have one for the birth. And I just went and got random groceries to stock up for the snowstorm too. And yeah, while I was driving around by myself, I started to have some really nice pressure waves that I thought were, felt a little bit different than before. And so when I got home, I went to the bathroom and wiped, and I saw a little bit of bloody show. It was it was brownish. It was like old blood, but I knew that things were happening, and so I let my midwife know, and I went ahead and cleaned the house and tried to get to bed relatively early that night because I felt like I was going to need my energy for the next day. I woke up around 2 a.m. and I just basically laid there in bed and labored for the rest of the night. I knew at that point I wasn't going to be going back to bed. I wasn't in any pain or anything. I was actually really in the zone with my Hypnobabies because that's just where I do the best, did my best hypnosis, was there laying in bed with my earbuds in at night. I was really comfortable and I could just completely relax my body. And yeah, I just found the pressure waves to be really enjoyable and comfortable. And I don't even remember what tracks I listened to, but, I was, having a good time, not really thinking I was in labor or anything, but yeah. So around 4 a.m. I started timing them, and, I accepted that, I was probably going to be up for the day. I texted my midwife and my friend, Susanna, and the birth photographer too. I just wanted to keep her in the loop because at this point I hadn't looked out the window. I didn't know what the snow status was, but I was starting to get a little bit anxious about, knowing when to call them in and finding the balance between, having them there too early or having them miss the birth, all that kind of stuff. Between 4 and 7 a.m., I would say the pressure waves are about 4 to 10 minutes apart. I could have gotten up or woken up Derek or done something at this point, but I was, like I said, most comfortable and having the most effective pressure waves just laying down for some reason. Around 7 a.m., I decided to get up because I wanted to make cinnamon rolls. I just thought that'd be fun to do. And also a really nice thing to do for my birth team, since they were all going to be kind of hungry and needing coffee and all that stuff. My midwife went ahead and decided to come make the drive around 6 a.m. So she got to our city where we live about 7 a.m. But she hung out with my friend Susanna at her house. So, and they just waited until I was ready to have them come over. Hi, sweetheart. Which was really nice because I knew that she was close by and could come whenever I needed her. But I also didn't feel the pressure of like being watched and that. And my birth photographer did the same thing. She found a ride into town and she just hung out at like a, coffee shop down the road and waited till I was ready to have people come over. Now when I got up around 7 or 8 and got Jack ready for the day, my contractions started to spread out and they were shorter. They had a totally different feeling to them. I felt them more in my back when I was upright, and they were just really irregular. And sometimes they would be 4 to 7 minutes apart. Other times they'd be like, I'd go like 20 minutes or more without anything happening. And that made me kind of nervous a little bit because I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's here in town and my labor's stalling. And I just thought, these aren't even close to uncomfortable yet. Like, this is just terrible if I got everyone here in this snowstorm for nothing. But I tried not to worry about that. I knew that they all know that, birth happens on its own time and baby's going to come when baby wants to come. So, and it's better to be safe and have everyone close rather than not at all. So, I started texting them and they're like, well, why don't we come over and we can do some exercises, lunges, have you walk some stairs, see if that kind of gets things back into a regular pattern at all. So they arrived between like 8:30 and 9. I had a lot more bloody show, like a lot more around this time. I was still sure that I wasn't in labor though. And and honestly, most of the day I kind of felt like I wasn't because it was just so easy and I was hanging out and just talking with family and friends. And that's kind of what it was. It was like a slumber party kind of, I don't know, it was really relaxed. It was probably my favorite part of having a home birth is just being so chilled out that you don't even know that you're having a baby. It's just regular, everyday life. So, yeah, I already talked about that. So they had me like sniff this essential oil called clary sage, and that seemed to help a little bit. And so I was walking and doing lunges. I took steps 2 at a time, and I just did anything that I could. And every time that I did end up having another contraction, I was just so happy. I was like, thank God I'm like doing this. I'm progressing. My cervix is dilating. And it was just a feeling of happiness every time that I had a contraction. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the Hypnobabies, because that's a big part of like, the training and everything. But, basically what I would do is whenever it would start and I would have that immediate response of like, yay, this is awesome. I would just focus all of my energy on my cervix and my body opening up. And, yeah, there was just something really comforting about the contractions. I don't even know what it was, but I liked it. And I don't mean that in like a sexual way. It wasn't like an orgasmic birth or anything like that, but, yeah. So I don't know, I think it was around 10:30. I wanted them to go ahead and check me. I requested to be checked because I just wanted to know, like, cause my birth photographer was going to go ahead and come over. She, she was just ready and I just wanted to see where I was. So they had them check me and, I watched my midwife's face when she was checking me. I was like trying to figure out, and she kind of had this blank stare, and I was like, oh God, she's going to tell me that I'm at 0, that there's nothing going on. And I was so sure. And she just looked at me. She said, you're 6 centimeters, you're 100% effaced. all I feel is the baby's head. She's at a 0 station, and I was like, what? I'm already 6 centimeters? Like, how? Like, I don't even feel, like I said, like I'm in labor. So we got the photographer over, we filled the pool up, and we just laughed and talked and hung out. They were still easy. The pressure waves were still really easy. They were anywhere from like 6 to 10 minutes apart for a couple hours, and then around 1 p.m. they slowed back down to like 10 or 15 minutes apart. So I was like, oh gosh, I'm stalling again, what's going on? And so we took a lunch break. We ordered, well, actually we had Derek go get this really nice ramen, like stir fry place, and I had like kimchi and a fried egg and like chicken mixed in. But anyways, so where am I? Oh yeah, and at this point, I forgot to mention, my mom picked up Jack around, I think like 9, and took him to this indoor play place. And then Derek's stepmom picked him up after that so that my mom could come back and be there for the birth. And then Derek's mom showed up like later in the afternoon, and she's actually the one that filmed the birth. So anyways, I had lunch, and, you know, I was just kind of lounging on the labor ball or kind of crouching down. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated with my pressure waves being so spread out. So I decided, you know, I told everyone I needed to go upstairs and lay down. And my midwife said it's totally normal for things to kind of slow down or stall, for mom to go take a nap and then wake up and be ready to, you know, push baby out. And she said a lot of people don't know that, but she said that she's seen that happen a lot. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go lay down and take a nap. I still felt a little bit bad for leaving everybody down there, but oh well, that's just kind of how it goes. So I napped for about 2 hours, I think. And I had some really good, strong, effective, probably the strongest contractions I had the whole labor. We're up in bed at this point. And let's see. So I napped from 1 to 3. They were probably about 10 minutes apart still. Some of them were 5 minutes. But they were really strong, and they lasted for over a minute. And I was just like kind of in the zone at that point. Yeah, so I felt like I was getting something done. And at 3 o'clock, I decided to come back down, hoping that, you know, getting up wouldn't stop the contractions again. So around 3 p.m., I decided to, I requested to be checked, and it turns out I was like 9 centimeters. So that made me really excited. I was like, wow, I'm finally like close to having this baby. I was going to send my birth photographer home so that she could be with her kids. But yeah, I was at 9 centimeters. So we're like, okay, go ahead and stay. At this point, we were just working on opening my pelvis. This is at the point where, you know, you can see some of this in my birth video. They had me do some contractions on the toilet, where whenever I have a contraction, Derek or my midwife would kind of push my knees back and kind of hold my pelvis open. So we did a few of those, and I just kind of hung out and walked around. And then I wasn't really sure at what point to get in the pool, because at this point it wasn't like the contractions were still really totally doable, and I was enjoying them still, and I didn't feel like I needed to get in for pain relief. But I went ahead and got in, and it was such a cool feeling of having that kind of the center of gravity shift a little bit. I feel like that really helped to kind of bring her down, because I feel like as soon as I got in there, this is probably when real transition started for me, is when I got in the pool. And I think it's because I got in the pool. I was just doing my thing, doing my hypnosis like I had been the whole time. And then slowly it kind of started transitioning to me like moaning through contractions. Whereas before I was like completely silent and just, you know, you kind of had to like poke me with the stick to even make sure I was awake. Hi, honey. Oh. Why does my newborn think she needs to lift her head up? You're a baby. You stop that. You don't need to grow up. So I started moaning through them. There's like a couple where I was just like I said, moaning. And then it kind of transitioned into this feeling of like intense pressure in my back. And that's when she started coming down, like the birth canal. And I feel like she came down really fast, because I feel like she was up there one minute and the next she was like, you know, at the door knocking to come out, basically. And if you watch my video, that's where I started to, you know, let out some kind of screams. And it was a really intense feeling. And I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be feeling it in my back so much, but I did. And yeah, I had this uncontrollable urge to push. Like my body just started pushing, and that I mean, I feel like it all just kind of happened all at once. And the next thing I knew, she was crowning, and I think that most of my Hypnobabies practice was focused on the early stage of labor. There was actually one track, the pushing stage one, where I never even really listened to it, because they say that you're not supposed to listen to it until you're there experiencing it. And by then I was just, you know, already too far into labor land to think to get out my headphones anymore. So I think next time if I do this again, I would probably listen to the pushing stage earlier in labor. And I know that that's not advised by them, and I'm not telling anybody to do that, but I'm just saying for me, I probably would, just so I can kind of mentally rehearse that a little bit more. And I know, yeah, so I started losing my focus a little bit during the few contractions where my body started to push. And I remember my midwife just telling me to release and let it go. And I was able to do that whenever I was reminded. And yeah, I was just like, okay, I can do this. Thank you. Like, I was like just so grateful that somebody was reminding me that I could do it and that I was doing it. And I still wasn't even like miserable, just because I knew that I was about to be holding my baby. It was such a cool feeling. So yeah, next thing I know, she's crowning. I felt down. I felt her head. It was kind of like a slimy, because my water was still intact, so I could still feel her bag of water over her head. But next contraction, my water broke as she was like, you know, about to come out. And next thing I know, her head is born, and I had this immediate feeling of relief, like, okay, let's finish this job. I can do this. And yeah, I just gently pushed her out after that. Pushing her out actually was probably one of the easiest parts of it. It was the only part where I think maybe I started to lose my confidence a little bit was, you know, like I said, when she was coming down so fast. So yeah, and that was a very brief part of my entire experience. So I would overall totally recommend Hypnobabies if you're wanting a natural birth. And if it's not for you, that's cool too. It's probably not for everybody, but I am really happy with my experience. I'm really happy with my oops, my overall, you know, home birth experience, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. The first thought I had after I was holding her was like, wow, are you really here? Like, did I really just do that? And why was that so easy? I think that, you know, the Hypnobabies did, sorry, some women have totally pain-free births. And I think part of that's, you know, due to like the positioning of the baby and everything. And I'm still not totally convinced I didn't have a little bit of back labor. But what Hypnobabies does claim to do, if you commit yourself to it, is have an easier, more comfortable childbirth experience. Now my labor from start to finish, I don't even know when to count the start of it was, but I think since I started timing contractions at 4 a.m., we'll call that the start. And she was born at 5:42. So this was a longer labor than I had with Jack. But if you take into consideration the fact that my contractions were so spread out for most of it and so relaxed, like I probably had fewer contractions to, you know, get her out of my body than I did with Jack, but it was just spread out over the day since there was more time in between them. Anyways, so that's my story. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer anything, and me and Sadie will see you later. Say bye. Whoa. Look at her little smushy face. Bye, guys.